Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is, of course, HD StarCraft. Who else would it be? And I'm here for Game 2 here from RSL Day 2. And, of course, this is going to be the continuation of the series between the Yellow Terran player down here in the bottom left-hand corner, formerly known as the Cheeser, because he just cheesed his way to a 1-0 score. His name is, of course, Liquid.Taeja. Fearsome, scary Terran, man. Not somebody you'd want to meet in the middle of an esports chat room or an esports game lobby. Maybe down like the middle of an alley late at night, you wouldn't be too scared, but not in a game of StarCraft 2, not in the virtual world. Anyways, his opponent over here is going to be in the top right-hand corner, and his name is Karante, or K3.Vortix. Like I said before, also known as the brother of Lucifron. But interesting, you know, you guys probably know this already, but Lucifron is a Terran player. And Vortix said, you know what, I don't want to be like you, brother. I want to be somebody else. I want to grow into my own man, so I'm going to be a Zerg player. Grow into my own Zerg, I guess, would be the right saying there. And so it's going to be another, of course, ZVT. And one, I guess, advantage to having somebody in the family that plays a lot of StarCraft 2 and is Terran is that, you know, in this matchup, he's going to definitely draw upon as much knowledge and experience as he possibly has from practicing with his brother and, you know, other Terran players to try to defeat Taeja here. And you'll note one thing he's doing at the very least is, you know, he's sending his drone scout out, and that's pretty typical. Most Zergs will do this. But this drone has extra emphasis because he just got cheesed last game, and he's really got to find out what's going on. And the funny thing is, a complete switch up here from Taeja, who says, you know what, last map was Ohana. That's a very small, condensed map. It's not the best in the middle for Terran play because it's so wide open and, you know, you can get attacked from all different angles, so I'm gonna all in you. But this map, it's much better for Terrans. You can go to the late game, and guess what, SCVs are actually stronger than drones, so you need to run your drone ass away. And Taeja will be able to get the CC of that drone just looking just hungry. You can see the saliva drooling down its fangs. He wants that last hit. But the SCV has actually 10 HP, so it would take 2 hits. And he really wants it, but at the very least, he is forcing Taeja to come off the command center and lose a little bit of mining time. But I guess that'll be enough feeding now for Vortix. He will sate his thirst by running the drone through the, I don't know, the restricted area and find a way to, I guess, become a third hatchery. That's what that drone's going to become, I would assume. But he's actually making 8 Zerglings right now, which is very peculiar. You don't usually see Zergs make so many Zerglings this early on in the game, but you know, this could be as a result of seeing Taeja go for a CC first. And you got to note that the CC is wide out here, open out in the low ground, meaning that any wall at the front door here is going to be increasingly unlikely. And, you know, he's looking to do some early game damage with this. And Taeja is not building that second supply depot at the choke point. So we will see if these Zerglings are going to be able to do anything. That SCV from Taeja actually ran up here and, you know, didn't see much. And here comes those Zerglings, man. They're going to try to go for the run by. SCVs might have to be pulled here to block the ramp. And the supply depot does not go up, so 8 Zerglings are now inside of Taeja's main. And I guess it's a little bit of payback here. A little bit of your own medicine back to the Terran player for the cheese that was pulled off last game. Of course, this isn't anywhere near as cheesy, but it is early aggression that is designed to do economic damage and has already killed off 5 SCVs. And it might get another kill here. No, it will not. I guess now Vortix is just going to be pleased with himself there. And, you know, think about it, guys. He just traded 8 Zerglings for 5 SCVs. I'll take that trade any day of the week. You got to remember that SCVs also, when they die, it's also a huge hindrance because you have to rebuild them and you lose any money that you would have accumulated had they stayed alive. So there's a lot more factors going in than just a cost-to-cost ratio that you have to analyze. So that is a huge loss there for Taeja. And a great start for Vortix. He is now going for the 3rd hatchery at the same time. And starting to spread out his creep as well. This is the predominant strategy in Zerg versus Terran. Has been for pretty much the greater part of this year. Just mass queens, spreading a lot of tumors throughout the middle of the map. One trend that we've been seeing a little bit of Zerg players doing lately is the Zergs actually not going that extra base against their opponents. I guess this is namely Leenock's playstyle, but I've been seeing a lot of Leenock, who's a hyper-aggressive Zerg, by the way. You know, like July Zerg, very, very aggressive. He doesn't actually play with the extra hatchery advantage that a lot of other Zergs, you know, try to stay keen to. It is kind of a trend that's been kind of happening, but not every Zerg can do it. And I don't fault Vortix for, you know, for getting that extra hatchery, because why wouldn't you? You know, it's always a good thing. If you're not being aggressive, then you better play eco. Speaking of aggressiveness, we do have a couple of Hellions now making their way into the middle of the map, and just gonna look to roast up some tumors. That is going to force a double cancel there. And anytime you can deny creep against a Zerg player, I like what he did there. He targeted the destructible debris, realizing that there was a creep tumor on the edge of that doodad. So anytime you can do this against Zerg, it is also a hindrance to them, because it makes it so they can't see as much on the map. It makes it so they don't get that speed boost on the map. And it gives the Terran much more comfort. If you ever play Terran or Protoss against Zerg, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. You don't really want to wander on the creep. You want it to be as receded as possible and keep your army at the edge of it. Anyways, we do have a push here coming from Taeja with Hellion Banshee. And do note there's a Spire and Baneling that's on the way. The creep tumor gets underground just in the nick of time. It looks like eggs are quite vulnerable to the Hellion flamethrower there, so he was roasting a couple of eggs up there. And now it looks like the Hellions are going to go for a run by against the Queens. Oh, the Queens are in so much trouble right now. Look at the Queen burning up. You don't see that very often. The Queens are pretty resistant to fire. I don't know why. I guess they just have they probably have water sacs or something inside their bodies. Well, every living organism has a lot of water in them, but Queens, for whatever reason, pretty resistant to fire, but not that time. That was a lot of Hellions, and that Queen went down in a roasty way. But we do have Zergling support coming out now. Not too sure if Zerglings is what he wants to make. Thankfully, he's not dealing with Blue Flame Hellions, and the Zerglings here have to be very careful how they play this out, because one wrong move and Vortix is going to lose a huge pack of units, but he was able to kill off the Banshee in that exchange, so not a bad start right there for our Zerg player. Hellion's now going to go ahead and retreat. What is Taeja up to inside the main base? Has double armory. Going to be going for a mech-based play instead of the more standard biomech. And now throwing out missile turrets, because mech is vulnerable, of course, to air. But there are Zerglings now looking to pound their way through into the natural. And Taeja is in so much trouble right now. Look at his SCVs trying to clump up on the mineral stack so they can only get hit 1 or 2 at a time. And now the Hellion's going to come in and try to go for the save. But a lot of workers have gone down already. And look at Vortix just trying to hold position micro against those SCVs, which is the best way to combating SCVs when they're, you know, running around or stacking up on the gases. You just want to hold position and let them naturally attack units nearby. And that was a pretty good attack from the Zerg player. Now has totaled up his drone kill count to 18. And you'll note that usually that's not the way a Terran versus Zerg goes. Usually Terrans are the one that rack up a lot of drone kills, but you know what? Taeja's still pretty close in supply, man. His macro is absolutely beast. And he's at 94 under 116 right now, but there are mutas coming in. And there it is, man. That's why Taeja is Taeja. He's a top tier Terran because he can anticipate if mutas are going to be on the field. He knows. And he's got missile turrets up, so these mutalisks, their damage is going to be mitigated. And Vortix has got to try to get some damage done with them, though, because they are a heavy investment. Will he go for the missile turret? It looks like he's trying to micro the weakened Mutalisk away. Oh, brilliant micro, but then the Thor finishes it off. Although the missile turret has gone down, so those SCVs and Meals also going to die. And actually, once again, worth it, I think, because he killed off another handful of workers there. And that's what you got to do with Mutalisks. You don't really want to use them in your main army. Against mech, you actually want to go mass roaches with burrow and speed, and that's what he's getting a roach horn right now, so he is going to prepare for the counter mech style play. Do note we have 2 packs of Hellions moving across the map here. One of the packs seeming to serve as just a distraction so the other pack can get inside, but there are a lot of Zerglings here, and despite the Hellions being outfitted with blue flames, they cannot incinerate that many Zerglings at once. And you know, still, as of yet, not a single drone has died this game from Vortix. He has done an amazing job of keeping the harass at bay. Remember the first attack with the Banshees and the Hellions? He lost a couple eggs there. He lost a couple creep tumors in the middle of the map. But he has not lost any drones, and that's quite amazing considering Taeja has so many Blue Flame Hellions on the map. And now he is actually looking to push out here. This army is pretty strong still. You know, Taeja, like I said before, macro absolutely boss. He's not, well, for a second there, he wasn't that far down in supply, and he still isn't. He's only down by about 30. So this is still, by all means, a full-on game. You can't really call it one way or the other. Maybe just a slight edge for Vortix, who is on 5 bases now, or should be on 5 momentarily. But he will need a lot of roaches and infestors to combat the Thor Hellion that is being produced in mass by Taeja right now. He has got a lot of factories back at home and a lot of queued up, you know, well, he was queuing up Thors and whatnot, but now he's going into siege tanks, which is smart. These mutas now just kind of fly in a little bit, see what they can do. But at this point, the mutas, I think, have done enough to justify the cost of, you know, building them, feeding them, maturing them, all the good stuff that Zerg do. And at this point, it's okay to start throwing away some mutas and free up your army supply for better units, because he is maxed out right now. And we'll see what Vortix does. He's at 2 armor. We do have some Hellions coming in, just checking the ground upgrades 1-1. And these Blue Flame Hellions might just get their first drone picks of the day. And there are a couple of drones going down. And finally, Taeja gets a little bit of payback for the SCVs he's lost in this game, but he's got to be careful. A counter attack is coming, and Vortix is going in with a ton of Speedling Roaches. The Blue Flame Hellions in siege mode just finishing up here. Will it be enough as infested Terrans are spawning out as well? This is going to be a very close battle. These tanks up here have got to siege up, and they will do so. Will it be enough firepower before the Roaches get into melee range? This is going to be an epically close battle. The Thor trying to be repaired. It will not. And just enough Roaches here remaining to do some pretty devastating damage here to Taeja's economy. 29 SCVs have now gone down. Those tanks have got to get to the low ground to save the workers. But they're getting a little too close to these Roaches, too close for comfort. And a couple of tanks here are going to fall. So that another great cost-effective attack by Vortix. And he keeps his infestors alive as well. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. He will actually lose a few. Will he lose that red one in the front? The Speedlings surrounding the Hellions and saving their Brofester at the very, very last second. So good job right there. The infestor's like, that's his expression of gratitude. And now Taeja actually really on the back foot. He needs to saturate the space. He needs to siege it up. Start to maybe build a sim city of buildings or something and get some units out. And another big threat here is Brute Lords. They are coming, man. In fact, 8 of them now on the way. But there are 5 Vikings being built at a time. Once again, Taeja, just great awareness, just knows what is going on at all points in this game. It has a very good game sense as to when Brood Lord should be coming, and he's got a lot of Vikings being produced right now. So once again, Taeja, you know, he's Korean, man. He's got what it takes to still come back in this game and extend his lead to 2-0. But Vortix has other things to say about that, man. He's making a push right now with Broodlord Infestor, the ultimate Zerg Death Ball. Hellions have to retreat to get away from the Broodlings. This is where the tanks really do not want to be killing or shooting friendly fire at themselves. And so he's going to unsiege the tanks and get him out of harm's way. Has a lot of Vikings here, but he gets fungled. And now the Vikings are in trouble. Another fungal coming down. It's absolutely critical that Taeja keeps the the infestors away so his Vikings can do the work they need to do. And it looks like Taeja is going to be able to take out a lot of Broodlords here. But what about the Zerglings flooding in? A lot of ground troops coming. Will there be enough Blue Flame Hellions to deal with this? The Zerglings, I can't tell if they have the adrenal glands upgrade or not, because it's just a complete frenzy on the ground. From the air to the ground, sky to earth, it's an absolute battlefield. Will Taeja have enough to hold on here? Queen's even coming out off the creep, in fact, to help fight. And this is getting down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. 40 SCVs have gone down already, and Taeja has to to retreat, but he loses the command center in the process. The Mule has nowhere to go. And that was a successful attack right there. If I'm the Zerg player, Vortix can now just pull back, and in fact, he'll get his queens on the creep, and off they go. So the command center goes down, several workers dropping as well. Taeja taking another big hit. But one consolation, just a small consolation, in fact, he can take from that battle is he did trade somewhat well against a Zerg player, who right now is only at 174 supply. Most of it, in fact, being inflated by roaches. So Taeja can still grind his way back into this game. He has another expansion up at the top left-hand corner. And does Vortix know about this? No, he doesn't, but he is getting 4 Ultras and Neural Parasite. So the Zerg technology, the evolutionary strains continue to evolve. And where are these mutas coming from? Looks like we have a bit of a downgrade in tech. I'm not sure if these mutas were from before, or if they just were spawned out of the new larva, but those mutas didn't really do much except for killing a siege tank, so that's okay. I think he's just clearing up supply. I'm pretty sure those mutas were from before. You'd have to be an insane Zerg player to start making mutas now, unless you were just going for a crazy tech switch, but you know, even then there's a lot of Vikings and Thors. Anyways, this game is very, very close right now. Still, I think Vortix has a slight lead. Of course, he's got the neutral bases as well at the 12 o'clock and at the 6 o'clock. And look at his Ultraless powered army now. Now, they might not have Burrow Charge. That's not available yet because this is still Wings of Liberty, but they are still a damned good unit. And I love how he's positioning them in the front. Taeja might not be able to get this command center up. He's going to lose several tanks in the middle of the map, and Taeja calls. Good game. Another splendid matchup here in Wings of Liberty, and I gotta say the best matchup so far in this set. Of course, the first game, just a cheese. But you know, if this is gonna be the tone setter for the rest of the series, I'm very, very excited to see how this is gonna close out. The series is now tied at 1-1 apiece. I hope you guys don't go anywhere, or if you guys are watching television, I guess what I would say would be, don't touch that remote control, because we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Stay tuned, guys. This is HD signing out.